Mic check, you got me?
I got you.
Cool. And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phase 1 podcast. This is going to be a blessing of a conversation for me and my family. I just want to give everybody a heads up if you ever need to take breaks throughout listening to this conversation, that is always acceptable, because with us, what we're doing is having real and raw conversations, and this isn't for show. We're not doing this for likes. We're just trying to be real people and have real conversations. So I'm with my new brother, Tristan, and my wife, his sister, Ashley, and we're going to have a conversation. And for those of you just tuning in, what we do with the Phase 1 podcast, first off, there are prerequisites. Vulnerability and discomfort are prerequisites to having this conversation. And the reason for that is because if we're being real with ourselves, then what we're trying to do in our pursuit of progress is heal. And when we think about holistic strength, it's not always the physical aspect, but it's also mental, emotional, and spiritual, and communicating and talking. And when we're talking about our past, sometimes that could be very challenging. So what you're all going to hear today is Tristan's story. He's going to share that with you, and then he's going to talk about how those significant moments in his past really forged the path to where he's at right now in his life. And he's going to share the mission that he's on right now, which is what he's doing and how he's trying to help people. And then what we always do, we're going to wrap this up with words of encouragement. That's the message. And we're going to share words of encouragement with one another. And we hope that everything you hear today, it adds a value to your life. And we recognize that life is not easy. Life is filled with adversity. And that's why the foundation of Phase 1 is to train for adversity, to find resilience. And at the other end of that discomfort is hope. So we hope that you find the hope through this conversation. Thanks for joining today.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, man. It's real. So for you, just take a moment, and we've already had conversations before hitting record, but just take a moment and reflect on your story and the significant moments in your life that forged the path to where you're at today. And as challenging as it may be, we're with you, and we love you. We care about you, and we're happy to be with you. I'm happy that you're in my family, and I'm happy that, yeah, we get to move forward in this wild journey of life together. So from here, I'm just going to close my mouth, and I know you got it in you, brother. You just take it from here. And if it's too much for you, if you're struggling at any point in this conversation, you can just let me know and Ash know. And I can ask specific questions too if you need. But yeah, for now, I just let you speak your soul.
Yeah, well, you've heard some of our Ash's and I's conversation. It's our journey's been crazy. I mean, it doesn't, at one point, I think in my life, I never thought it would ever end. Just never did. For the people that don't know, I was adopted in 07, 08. Definitely a weird time in my life. Like it was a blessing in a way, but at the same time, as a 6, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, I don't remember how old I was, it was very confusing. Like you were living in a life that you all of a sudden just got ripped out of, and now you're thrown into another one. And it's wild. Like not in a million years that I ever thought that would ever happen to me or my younger brother. So yeah, I've had to go through a lot of counseling, a lot of just trying to figure out where I fit in the world. And it's not something that I ever wish, honestly, upon anyone or any kid, I guess, at that age. And yeah, I don't really know how to start this.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. What is a challenge that you faced in your childhood?
One of the biggest ones was trying to understand why. Like, you thought you lived in a perfect life, like the life that I was living. I mean, as a young kid, you thought it was normal. You know, your parents not coming home every day, or wondering where your mom is, or are you going to have enough food, or Christmas, whatever it may be. Like, we didn't know. It was just a mystery. And when we got adopted or put through the foster care system, all of a sudden we had all this. So it was like taking in a lot, but not understanding why we were getting it. Like, will it be ripped away from us? Will it not be ripped away from us? We never knew. So my adopted dad, I pushed that man's buttons every step of the way. Like, I was like, I'm going to break this man. Like, I'm going to get him to show me his true colors. Never did. He was there to love us through and through every step of the way. So it was a journey.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So you and Ash haven't always been connected.
No.
Could we get into that?
We can. I think
what we can do, I have thoughts. Because this is a really sensitive topic, and it could be challenging to talk about. Can we talk about when you both connected?
Ooh, yeah, we can do that. That was, I think, 2019? 2019, I reached out to Ash. I had a hunch she may or may not have been my sister. So I reached out and I'd asked her, I said, are you related to me? You know, Tristan Wilcox at the time was what my actual last name was. And she's like, I think so. You know, I'll get back to you on it. I was like, all right. It wasn't even 20 minutes later. She's like, yeah, you're my brother. I was like, all right, well, do you ever want to meet up, like get to know each other? And I think we both were just so busy. And I think at the time Ash was living in a different state. So she really couldn't. I think we talked on the phone a couple times just to kind of see how, like, kind of feel it out. And no, it was nice to actually know it's like, hey, now I have another relative. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah. What does what have the past few years reconnecting with Ash meant to you?
Everything. Like, literally everything. I think Ash has shown me that there's more to life. I mean, I was going down a pretty dark path for a while. I was doing not good things, and meeting Ash kind of brought the better side of me out. And as you know, both of you have pushed me to some new heights and new potentials that I never thought I had. So I'm pretty grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Ash knows that for me, I'm 34, and up until Ash and I connected, I felt like I was only half a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really knowing what I was doing. I was capable of achieving things I didn't think were possible, but there just was so much of a void. I had no idea what I was doing in my life. And yeah, I just knew that when I moved back to Spokane, I was with my parents, and I just knew it was temporary. I just felt really like a strong pull to get out and just start over, like turn the page, hit the reset button, and just like do something. And yeah, I was moving into this garage. I was only here for about 15 minutes before she texted me. It was like, hey, not to sound like a total creep, but I think I see you in my apartment. And I'm like, I think we're neighbors. Do you want to connect or something. I don't know. But it just was it was baffling. And it's a really silly, funny story in itself. But yeah, I just remember like she saw me standing right outside the garage. I was looking over. I don't know. I just was curious, like wondering what I get myself into, because it felt so foreign to me, like moving into this apartment. I was like, I actually don't feel like I know where I'm at. I walked in here, I got a little tour, and something pulled me. It was like, yes, like this is where you need to go. And it's a 2-bedroom apartment, but like it may not sound like a lot to people, but I was like, no, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but like my life is gonna change here. It was a strong feeling. So I walked out there and I was just kind of looking around, and I was like, gosh, I hope no one's looking at me because I feel super weird. I'm just standing out here looking at the grass. So whatever. But yeah, that's when she saw me. So it was super funny. But yeah, it's been really sweet to connect with you since I met you at her birthday party. So only since this summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just have so many curiosities, and I think it's okay for me to be curious. I really don't want to pull it out of you to share with the world if you're not comfortable with it. But I always wonder, like, you have, 28 years of a past, and it's not sunshine and rainbows.
No.
And Ash has a past. I have a past that I'm not proud of. And I'm not projecting that on either of you and how you feel about your past, but my past is not filled with sunshine and rainbows. And I wonder about you two and where you both have been and things you've seen and what's happened to you. But I also sit next to you and see the growth, or at least I witness the path that both of you are on to at least try to find that healing. And it's just so wild that you both found each other.
Yeah, I think I was, 2019. So I wasn't married yet. So that was what, 2021, I think. Yeah, it was a crazy time in my life. I mean, I had lost literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was walking 4 hours to and from work, even though I lived up in Wellesley and worked downtown. I was walking every single day back and forth to work. And in that moment, like, yeah, my dad told me, he's like, I can help you get a car, this, and this. And I said, no, Dad, I put myself here. I'm going to get myself out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had COVID. That was a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a truck, and just ever since then, it's just been go, go, go. Never really stopped. And I don't usually talk about my past. It's not because I don't like to talk about it. It put me in a very dark, dark place. And sometimes, I'd say not recently, but the last, probably before your birthday, I was not in a good headspace. I mean, I truly wasn't. I was still lost, still confused. I was 27. It's like, okay, is this all that I have to offer life?
Mm-hmm.
But the more, I talk with you and you and my best friend, and I realized I was like, no, I still have a lot more to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, even that's like volunteering for the shrine and helping those guys out, and which that also brought a big part into my life as well. My dad's always told me, he's like, you should always volunteer to give back to the community. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where do you start? Like, you can't just walk into a school and be like, hey, I want to help out some kids. Like, it doesn't work that way. So that's kind of how he told me. He's like, why don't you just, volunteer for a school? I'm like, Dad, like, we're in the wrong era for that. Like, we can't do that no more. Like, that's a no-no. And so my buddy had asked me, he's like, hey, can you help us with the elephant ear booth? And I'm like, I was nervous because it's like, I don't cook.
Mhm.
First one to admit that. I'm like, man, I hope I don't have to cook.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is going to be rough. And he's like, nope, you're going to be running this machine. This is what we do. And then he started explaining to me what it was for
Mm-hmm.
and what the proceeds and everything do. And so I was like, okay, this is going for a good cause. Like, I feel like I'm helping out the community. I'm helping out a family that maybe or may not can afford care
Mm-hmm.
for their young kid. So, now I got Asher, my nephew, and I'd be doing this for him in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got another nephew on the way. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Life has dealt me, like my dad says, he says, life dealt you cards.
Mm-hmm.
What you do with those cards is completely up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really did understand that until I got a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I got dealt a crappy hand of cards. Put it back in the deck, shuffle it, start over. And sometimes I think as a man, that's something you have to do at least maybe once or twice in your life, is you just say, all right, it's time to start over. Or anybody for that matter. And it's hard to do because sometimes you're going to feel lost, and sometimes you're going to be like, am I making the right moves?
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where I didn't think I was making the right moves and never really got into trouble, but it got to a point where like drinking got out of hand. That's all I did was drink. And one morning I woke up and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I said, either it's going to kill me or I'm going to hurt somebody. And I just said, all right, I can cut this back. If I want to do it at functional events, I can do that. I don't need to drink every single day when I come home from work or whatever it is I may be doing. And racing actually kind of came into a part of that as well. Is with racing dirt bikes and everything, you have to be in the top physical shape, or you're just going to get waxed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're done. You're done from before that gate even drops. And that happened to me. Is I had partied too hard the night before and went racing. And I even actually had to pull off the track and throw up. I was like, I don't want to do this to myself anymore. Like, it's starting to make me not like the sport that I love so much. So at that point, I pretty much stopped drinking entirely. So that was a hard pill to swallow for a while.
Yeah. There's a few things that you were talking about that I kind of want to circle back to. You were talking about being in a negative headspace, a dark space, which wasn't that long ago.
No.
Really it was just a few blinks back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the depths of your darkness that you were in, but I can certainly relate to that. When I was in Texas, and I've shared this many times, and I think it's a responsibility for me to do so, as it is foundational to my story. But when I was in Texas, my ex-wife and I, we were going through separation and divorce, and I thought that I was resilient at the time. I mean, the things that I've accomplished up to that point in my life, I thought that I had succeeded. I thought that I was capable. And then I just really felt a really deep despair, to the point where I'm having conversations with my twin brother, and he's like, I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. I was like, brother, I don't know either. I don't know who I am. And like, to genuinely lay my head on my pillow at night and think of ways to end my life and how that brought me joy, that was hope to me. And it's just so vivid in my mind. My daughter, Nova, just knowing that I genuinely was in a place in my life where I rationalized why my existence on planet Earth was no longer needed. And to know that I have a child, responsible to a child, knowing, well, there's other people on the planet that will take care of her. Like, it's not going to be me. My dad wasn't there for me, so what difference does it make?
Yeah.
She's going to be okay. She doesn't need me. Like what value am I adding to her life? Not a lot. And so I convinced myself and rationalized why I didn't need to live anymore. And my friends were talking about like guns they had and guns that they were wanting to sell. And I'm like, oh, like a little light bulb moment. I'm like, oh, here's another thing that I get to hold on to, which could lead down like an avenue towards suicide. And I was like, well, when would I do it? How would I do it? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I would go in the garage, and I had the spot picked out of my garage where I would sit, and yeah, like where I wanted to end my life. The idea, so that suicidal ideation was something that permeated in my soul, and it brought me hope. And it's just so interesting to me because around that same time is when a friend of mine called and was like, hey man, you want to run a 50-mile run through the desert of North Texas? And I knew what ultras were. I'm like, no, dude. Like, in my mind, I'm like, that's impossible. But when he invited me is when I said yes, instantly, without hesitation. So when we're going full circle with this phase 1 mission, like the invitation is to train for adversity. And that's why it's so paramount to me is inviting ourselves to an environment where we get to operate and where we get to train for adversity, and knowing that life is going to be challenging and it's going to be filled with adversity. But if we keep going despite the obstacles and challenges that we're facing, then maybe we can define resilience along the way. Maybe we can find that hope. And I'm grateful for my despair that I went through, that God allowed me to go through, because in the deepest, darkest moments, the light it wasn't visible to me. I couldn't see it. I couldn't feel it. But that invitation that I didn't know I needed, when I accepted it, like that's when the light bulb turned on and turned the page, flipped the script. Like I'm writing a new story. I'm writing a different story. And that spot in my garage that I would fantasize about ending my life in, I went and painted that entire wall black. And there's 3 words in red that I painted. And I painted it red for a specific reason, because of the suicidal ideations that I had. Like I wanted that wall to be painted red. I painted 3 words on that wall with the black backdrop. It's integrity. What were those words? I forgot. Oh yeah, there it is. I made a new one and I put it behind me. That's so funny. I forgot it. So integrity was the first word that I painted, because at that time I was like, I don't know what I need to do, but I need to show up and give my all. And I need to do the things I know I can do regardless if I want to. So that's where that integrity piece came in, is like, do what you know you can do. So that's why integrity meant so much to me. But I also knew that I needed to be patient, because I had no idea when that light was going to present itself, because it was so dark. I was like, I don't see the light. I don't feel light. But I have to be patient, because I do believe that God's operating in me. And if I continue to hold hope, then maybe I can find this light. So that's why patience was so paramount at that time. And then I wrote a line, or drew a line underneath that. And that final word was endure, period, at the end. Like, that's just a command. Like, I'm just telling myself what I need to do. I'm gonna show up every day with integrity. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. I'm going to be patient to endure this discomfort. And then I'm going to endure it, like endure, period. That's it. Like, I don't know I don't know the end result, but I'm just going to give it my all and see what happens, because the opposite isn't going to work for me.
No.
I have to show up in full for my kiddo, and I got to show up for me. So that was the initial stages to a really beautiful journey. And then something you and I were talking about before we hit record, I was talking about the idea of like victimizing myself. And for so many years, like I played this boo-boo poopy pants version of me. I'm like, oh, my dad hurt me. He left me. And I just felt so sorry for myself. And very, very recently, within the last 2 months, I really started to become obsessed with finding my dad again. Background for those who haven't heard me talk about my dad. My parents divorced when I was 6, moved from California up to Spokane. Dad was in and out of my life and my 3 brothers' lives up until our very early adult years. And my brothers don't really talk about my dad. It was just like a time in our life we don't talk about. And out of the brothers, I was the one that was beat. And there were times where he would throw me around the house like I'm just a rag doll. And it was just based off the way I looked at him. There were times where he wanted me to fight him and I didn't want to. I said no, and he didn't listen. And like I have vivid memories of the blood dripping off of his face down the back of my neck because he wouldn't get off me. And I was a kid, for a kid to strike their father and make them bleed as he's hammer fisting the back of my skull and calling me like a fucking faggot and all this, it really rattles the identity of a young boy who should be looking up to their dad. And I just was so confused, and so those are foundational memories that I have. And then before that, I mean, like I have vivid memories as a little kid, like, and I have pictures to prove it too, which is interesting. Well, pictures prove the day of significant memories that I have of, because I remember putting these little arm floaties on, and I remember the pool at the apartment that we were at, and I also remember us just playing, having fun. And then I remember one hand of his on one shoulder, and then he pushed me under, and I was like, oh, he's just playing. And I'm like, I don't know if he's playing. And then the other hand goes on the other shoulder, and he just held me underwater. And I'm like, this guy's not playing around. And just knowing like that is a fundamental, maybe not fundamental, that's a foundational memory that I have as a child, and being so confused, like, or just being in a survival situation. Yes, all these memories that I have of my dad. There's a long time where I was like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to be a part of my life, then that's fine, because he would come and he would go. And then later on, I was in my late 20s. We reconnected, and we just wrote each other letters back and forth for about a year. And the last time I heard from him, I asked him if he wanted to meet my daughter. She's going to be 6 in April. So that's really tough for me. It's been really tough for me because I finally got to a place in my life where I started to trust him again. I asked him if he wanted to meet my child. Never heard back. But what my dad told me that he didn't tell my other brothers, as far as I know, is the suicide games he would play. He had a series of games that he would play, he told me, every night. And he would let chance decide for him if he was going to live or die. And I know this to be true because he didn't only say it to me. I also met very dear friend of his that he worked with for almost 20 years. And she found me through social media. We reconnected, and within 2 seconds of FaceTiming one another, she's sobbing because she's like, "Oh, it's Fish." And she would always call him Fish. And she told me that she just felt this strong pull to call him one time. So she called, he didn't answer. She called back, didn't answer. Called back, didn't answer. Finally, he answers and he's crying. He was attempting suicide, and she pulled him out of it. She interrupted him committing suicide. So for me, like, knowing all these things, it's in my past, it's almost been easier for me to victimize myself and to feel sorry for myself, because I know what it feels like to have those suicidal ideations. I know what it feels like to have a lost identity and not know my value. And it almost felt good to sulk. It almost felt good to like feel bad. And I think that's kind of, I don't know why, but I just felt like I just really wanted to reconnect with my dad over the last year. And especially when Ash and I found out we're having a baby, I think it's just because I wanted him to see, I just wanted him to see, like, I'm okay. I'm not dead. I'm still here. I'm still strong. Like, I didn't need you to define me as a specific thing. Like, I know my value. I know my purpose. I know I'm strong. Like, even though he said I wasn't, like, I just wanted him to see, like, I'm okay and I'm good. And I also want to tell him I forgive him. But then something flipped, and instead of me having hatred for him, I just decided to take a different approach, which is like ruthless accountability or ruthless recognition of reality. I'm like, here are the facts. I haven't heard from my dad for 6 years. If he wanted to be a part of my life, he would have made the attempt, or he committed suicide and he's dead. What difference does it make to me? And this is what I've been thinking about the last few months. Because I feel like me trying to find my dad is and trying to reconnect with my dad has really been an anchor for me.
Yeah.
And what I've accepted is the fact that I probably will never hear from him again. Probably never see him again. And I'm okay with that. I hope the best for him if he's still alive. If he's no longer with us, I hope his soul is with the Lord, because I know he loved the Lord, but he was he was a heartbroken man. And another part of it that's really tough for me is feeling connected to him through my mental health. Yeah. When my mental health starts to spiral and I go really dark, I feel so close to my dad. And that's what really, really frustrates me. Really frustrates me. Because sometimes, like with Ash and I'll just wake up one morning and I just am in a dark place. And I feel like I've got demons in me. And I've laid on this floor with the lights turned off, and I literally have my face buried in the ground. And I'm just like, I'm cursing Satan. Like, I didn't know what else to do. I'm praying and I'm cursing Satan. I'm like, dog, you're not going to win. Like, you won't win.
There ain't no way.
No. It's just sad to me. It's sad to me knowing that men don't know their identity and their value and their strength. And I say that for a reason. I care for all people. I care for women as well. I just want so much. Like, I want to invest in men who are lost and don't know their value. I just want to tell them the truth. Like, just want to tell them that they're loved. They have value. They have purpose. Yeah, these are just big things that I've been thinking about. And the reason I went into such details because I just was thinking about what you were saying when you were talking about being in that dark space. And then you said something else that made me think about what I was talking about earlier with like the me victimizing myself. And what I've wanted to do is not be a victim to myself. I want to show up in full because now I'm married to your sister.
Yeah.
And I want to show up as healthy as a man as I can. And it's funny because me like wandering, lost, trying to figure out my life, like not knowing really anything. Come to find out, I was more self-destructive when I was by myself. And the last year with Ash has been the best year of my whole life. And it's not like she tried to convince me of my value, but it was just like her showing up every day. And I'm like, I wouldn't show up for me. I don't know why you're showing up for me. But she just does it anyways, you know? And it's just so sweet knowing like that emptiness that I had, like God put her in my life at a perfect time where I was lost and didn't know what I was doing. But like restoration and healing is just been the theme. And it's just so good. And I'm so happy that you both get the time as well. It just it feeds my heart, my soul, knowing that darkness can't win.
No.
Even when there's a glimmer of light.
If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would ever have met Ashley again, I would have told you no. Straight up. When we were younger, my brother and I were both told that, well, Ashley was gone. So when I think honestly you popped up as a mutual friend on Facebook, I think I started doing some digging on that, and I started thinking more about that. I was like, okay, well, I knew your name, but I didn't know your last name. And so one day, I think I was just laying in bed scrolling through Facebook, and you had popped up a couple of times, and I'm like, man, this has to be. So then I texted Cameron, took a screenshot. I was like, hey, do you know who this is? He's like, yeah, ding-a-ling, that's our sister. I was like, all right. I said, have you reached out? And I think at that point, you and Cameron had been talking for a while. Not at all? So you and I were the first ones to talk. Oh, see, I don't remember that. I thought Cameron said that you two had been talking for a while. So if you would have asked me that 10 years ago, I'd have been like, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. Like, Ashley's gone. You know, that's not my sister. I had a sister. But then when I started reconnecting with you and then hearing your story of what had happened when you were a kid, kind of went pretty hand in hand with what Cameron and I dealt with. And I never thought in this world there was such evil. Mm-hmm. Looking back at it now, it was horrible. Mm-hmm. I mean, bouncing from foster care to foster care system, that was miserable. You know, I had to steal food for Cameron and I to eat. And, you know, I have taken whoopings from random people that Lily would bring into the house, people I didn't even know. And it had happened over and over and over and over again to a point where Lily just disappeared, just vamoosed, left us with this dude named Sean. I think we were with him for, I think at least a year. It had been coming up on a year. And I remember he did some not good things that I think even to this day, I struggle with that. Like, how could a grown ass man do that to two little kids? I could never imagine it. Like, one, people that you are so-called raising to be your kids, that you would sexually assault him like that. It doesn't make sense to me. It never did. So going through the foster care system, I was very careful about who I trusted, what I did, and who I'd let Cameron around. And when we were at one foster care system, or house, I should say, at that point it was a house. We were at Sally's house. Her name was Anita, and I think her husband's name was Mike or Kirk or whatever his name was. And the dude was a creep, straight up a creep. And he had did something to Cameron, and Cameron came up to our room and told me. And sometime when I let you read the box, or if I ever get my hands on it, there will be a report in there that I chased that man with a baseball bat. I said, you will never hurt my younger brother again. Mm-hmm. You come near him and I'll kill you. Mm-hmm. That was just me protecting him. Well, the state flipped it and said that I had went after another kid in there. I said, no, that's not what happened. I went after the dad for doing horrible things. And even at 6 years old, I knew that was wrong. Mm-hmm. And then we met Ryan. We got pulled because we went from Anita's house to, I think it was, what was his name? Her son's name was Christopher, but I don't remember her name. We got moved into a different home, more of a home suited like, hey, this lady's got 2 younger kids. These 2 boys, they're pretty close in age. Let them play. And I remember we got pulled from school from our caseworker, Judy. And she's like, hey, are you guys hungry? We're going to go to Pizza Hut. We're like, yeah, cool. We can do that. Like, whatever. It's free food. We don't care. And so we go in. And then I remember this man sitting at the table. And his name was Ryan Roslak. And he looked at us. We looked at him. And he introduced himself as Ryan Roslak. And I was like, okay, what is this? And so Ryan had asked Judy, hey, can I take the boys to the park? So Ryan was already through that system where he didn't really know how to approach us or what to do. And so we went to, I think it was Plans Ferry Park. Mm-hmm. And Cameron and I were sliding down the slide, and I looked at him and I said, I wish you were our dad. Aww. And from, I think, that point of it, it didn't seem like a reality. Mm-hmm. It felt like, okay, we're just going to bounce around from foster care to foster care to foster care. Well, that following Friday, we got to go to his house, which was cool. I mean, it was up in the woods, kids could be kids. Mm-hmm. And then like 2 weeks later, or about a month, I'd say a month later, we moved with him full time. Mm-hmm. And so first thing we did is we went to Walmart, got bikes. Mm-hmm. That was kind of fun. We got to meet all the neighbors. Granted, there was no other kids our age, which was fine. But it was like home. We got to meet our grandparents, and, it was Cameron and I, we were spoiled. Like, we got to be mm-hmm. introduced. It's like, okay, this is your family and this is how it is. Mm-hmm. So it was, I don't know, it was just weird. I mean, I went to counseling for 10 years, and it took me, I think, my 10th year to finally understand it. Mm-hmm. And I was a pretty angry individual. I mean, I was mad at Lily. I was mad at Aaron. Yeah. And, just fairly recently, it took me, I straight up hated Aaron. Mm-hmm. I blamed him for everything. There was reports in there that he had whooped me multiple times. And come to find out, when I asked him his side of the story, it never happened. Mm. It wasn't him. So I had believed something that actually wasn't true. And I hated that man for it for years and years and years and years. And then now building this new relationship with him, I sat him down. I said, is this what happened? X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, X happened, but Z and Y didn't. I said, okay, that makes more sense now. And I asked him, I said, you had 2 young boys. Why would you just give up on us? Mm-hmm. And I said, that's the question that's been burning in the back of my mind for a long time. And he's like, I knew at that point in my life, I could not take care of you 2 boys. I said, all right, well, I respect your honesty. I mean, it makes me feel at least a little better. Mm-hmm. But you know, like you and I've talked, when it comes to Lily, like that is an evil that I cannot forgive. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know her the same way that you've gone through what you've gone through with her, being with her as long as you were versus I was very young. But I do know what she's capable of, and I do know it is very evil. And I am sorry you had to go through that. That I am sorry for. Um, and maybe forgiveness will come. I finally got to a point where I felt where I could finally forgive her for abandoning me. And that took, how old am I? 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
Because I just could never imagine how somebody could even, especially with becoming a mom, I just never could imagine how somebody could choose what she chooses over her children. But she's a very sick individual.
No, she is. It's like, you know, like you said, it's like, how can you, like, I'm not even a parent yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hopefully it doesn't happen for a while, but I could never, ever imagine just saying, all right, state, you take them over.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go do this with another person and have 2 more kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're repeating the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just the most horrible thing in the world you could ever do to somebody.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you and I me, you, and Cameron, we turned out great.
Yeah.
Was it hard for us? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of the same thing as, you know, when I was not in the best of headspace, I'd say probably 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
I had to look myself in the mirror every morning. I didn't recognize who I was even looking at anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was very careless. I was very reckless. I did not care what anybody or anything thought about me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to a degree today, I kind of feel that same way. But if somebody showed me respect, I didn't give them back the respect that they deserved. And I personally hated myself for that. I'm like, I was in a relationship at first, it was an amazing relationship, kind of like you two. I was lost. Tiffany had came into my life and had showed me that, hey, there's another part of life that you just don't know about yet. I will show you kind of the way, like kind of paving the way. And, you know, that was somebody who I was like, okay, let's do this. Everything was fine and dandy. It was great. But then there's always a flip side to a coin. Then her true colors came out.
Mm-hmm.
She took away everything in anything, honestly, I ever cared about.
Mm-hmm.
Including, you know, this is going to sound horrible, but an unborn child.
Mm-hmm.
Just ripped it away like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, that was my lowest point in life. I'm like, am I really this bad of a person that you put hands on and you can't have a kid with? Like, so it's like, and I used to never sleep. I mean, I still don't sleep. Even today, I don't really sleep much. It's because it's a constant thing that's in the back of my mind is, am I enough for somebody? Am I doing something wrong in life that I don't know or somebody's not telling me? I mean, from what some people say is I have this cocky, arrogant attitude. I'm like, well, it depends on what it is and if I'm good at something, you're going to know. If I'm not good at something, I'm going to get myself to that point where I will conquer it. I refuse to quit.
The drive.
That drive never ends. I mean, it's the same thing with racing.
Yeah.
I haven't won a race since 23. And that was 5 years before that I won a race. And ever since then I have valued myself to conquer and just keep pushing that next envelope to where I eventually have a breaking point. But I haven't found that breaking point yet. But mentally, I kind of fell off that wagon, you know, I wouldn't say I'm depressed now. I mean, my buddy and I, we shouldn't joke about it, but we do, is seasonal depression. You're locked up. what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can only go see so many movies or go on so many walks or play so many video games. There's only so much you can do. You know, I go to the gym, but even now it's like, all right, now I'm bored of this.
Mm.
Like, I want to get back to summer. I want to get back to just being on the go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at that point, it keeps my mind so busy where I don't have time to stop. And a good friend of mine once told me when Alyssa died
Mm-hmm.
is was it idle hands are the devil's playground.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that one before too.
And that has been a struggle because lately I've had idle hands. It's like, what do I do with myself?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's fun, you know, coming here, hanging out with you guys, having dinner, doing whatever, just chit chatting.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it's a crazy, crazy world we live in now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I told you earlier, is you and I went through the same things, but at different points in our lives.
Yeah.
Can we go back and change the clocks? No. Did I hate myself for what I put Cameron through? 100% I did. But then I had to stop and think about it. Is I'm just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't fall back on me. Is why am I punishing myself for something that, one, wasn't even my control?
Mm-hmm.
And in forgetting, not really forgetting about it, but not dwelling on it, not a pity party for myself on it,
Mm-hmm.
I have felt way better.
Yeah.
And will I ever forgive Lily? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've had multiple people tell me I should, but it's like, okay, but you didn't live it.
Yeah.
You didn't get, I remember one time, what was it? I smarted off to her and she hit me so hard with a wooden spoon, it broke.
Jeez.
And I laughed. That was the last time I ever laughed, though. I'll tell you that, because that didn't feel good. That whooping hurt. But it wasn't even that. It's what really makes me not want to forgive her is the things that she put my wife through.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that was my own doing. Is I had trusted somebody who I thought was better but wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, is it ripped apart my own life, my personal life with my wife, and my personal life with my dad. It just imploded my life.
Mm-hmm.
And will I ever forgive her for that? I don't know. She took away two things from me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you love your kid, like she says she claims she does, why would you put your kid through hell? Yeah. It's like, do you think that he's going to climb out of that? Or do you think he's just going to sink back in and be on your level?
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to be on her level.
There you go.
But the person that pushed to be out of that level made me very, very ornery. Mm-hmm. And it has put me in dark places multiple times. Because sometimes I feel like I'm pushing that envelope a little too hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah. I think my mind goes to big sister mode and protective feelings for both you and Cameron. But I think my biggest advice and learning from my own experiences of darkness, and I've had my share of dark moments, just like what you and John were saying, especially when I found out about you and Cameron. When I think I was 15 or 16, maybe a little younger than that. And I was already going through my share of things at home with my own parents that I was with, and already kind of in the darkness. But when I found out about you and Cameron, and that you were told that I had died in some sort of accident, that darkness just swallowed me. And I had the same feeling of what you were saying about, am I not good enough? Will anybody ever see me or know me for who I really am? And I almost let that darkness win. That being said, my wisdom for you, I would say, is just using all these things and not playing that victim mentality. Looking back on them, I honestly, would I change anything I've been through? I wouldn't be who I am today. Stronger for it. My faith is stronger for it. I've got a beautiful family. So that's my biggest wisdom, I would say, for you, with tears in my eyes, is just to use it and not to let it win.
No, I don't think I'm gonna ever let it win.
I believe that.
It will not happen. Will I go, you have the right path, wrong path. Will they eventually cross again? They always will. And I don't know if that's just, you can do everything right in life, but eventually there's going to be a crossroad. That's just how I feel that life is. And, my dad always tells me, he's like, you need to quit being negative all the time. I said, Dad, I'm not being negative. I said, it's what I see in the world that is just horrible. And you're sitting here trying to tell me that everything is going to be perfect. It's not. You could do everything right, and there's still going to be a problem. There just always is.
Mm-hmm.
And, honestly, and it took me a long time to kind of figure this out. My dad's like, why do you race dirt bikes? It's dangerous. You've broken so many bones, been in the hospital so much. And I told him, I said, Dad, 2 reasons. 1, what else could I be spending money on right now? And he's like, that's a fair point. I said, 2, when I'm racing a dirt bike, I don't think about anything or anyone but myself at that point. I'm protecting myself. Everything else in life stops. And that is the best feeling that I've ever had. When Alyssa died, I rode more and more and more than I've ever ridden in my life. I don't think it was just trying to forget about her, but as a way of, it was something that she loved, and she refused to let me quit. Trust me, I tried. She's like, no, we're going. I'm like, all right, I guess we're going. And even on my bad days, she'd be like, you're not trying hard enough. Push yourself. I know your limitations. And if I see you're going past those limitations, I'm just going to let you do it. Either 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either you're going to tire yourself out or you'll crash. And I'm like, oh, that's a fair point. I think honestly, racing dirt bikes and being around that community is probably one of the reasons why I'm still here today. Is it's another family. And without people seeing it, they're like, okay, yeah, you're just a bunch of yahoos racing dirt bikes, like whatever. But in reality is we're there for one another. We always have been. We always will be. It's just like a little community in itself. And I think I have leaned on that for a very long time. And then this last year, like come 2025 was rough. That was a rough year for me. My mindset for 2026 is I'm coming for everything that anyone has ever told me that I can't have. Meaning job, my personal life, racing, it don't matter what it is. I'm coming for it. And I'm not going to stop until I get it. I'm going to be a much, much better person going into 2026. Is I'm not going to let 2025 define me and who I was. Because I was straight up an asshole in 2025. Because I did not care about anyone, anything, nothing. I just didn't care. Because everything had been stripped away from me. And so I had to stop. And my roommate, Tracy, she's like, you are a great human being. You give and you give and you give. And I will continue to give. I don't ever respect or want anything in return out of it. And I enjoy giving back. It brings joy to my life. And it took me a very long time to kind of figure that out. If you and John ever need anything, you both know I'm one phone call away.
Yeah.
And I'll be here.
Oh, we know.
I'll be it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun year. And even like partnering with you guys for racing, I think is going to be a blast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I appreciate everything you've shared up to this point and the conversation you've had with Ash. I hope that it's been healing and encouraging as well. I've got a question for you. We've had this conversation recently, but you were sharing with me what phase one means to you. I just want to ask right now, like thinking about everything that we've talked about, and as you pivot hard into 2026 and relentlessly move forward with chasing yourself, I'm just curious what your opinion and what your outlook on phase one is and what it means to you.
Oh, that's actually that's a good question. Cause actually my best friend asked me, he's like, what is phase one? And I said, all right, let me tell you what I think it is. You know, for a long time, I was not a very religious person, never really was. And I have seen some of the things that obviously you have posted, your podcast, everything on phase one. And so to me, it's not about training. It's not about, you know, being the biggest, baddest person. It is being able to push yourself and do the things that you didn't think you could do, and just going over the boundaries of, okay, I'm not going to stop. Most people, I feel, they get to a certain point in life and they're like, that's it. That's a wrap. There's more to it than just what you think you're capable of doing. We're all capable of doing whatever it is we put our minds and hearts to. And when I looked at phase one and I've seen everything that you've done with it, I was like, okay, so this is also, you know, in my mind, a faith of believing in God. And I was like, well, this looks like a fun journey. Like, let's go do this. Like, this is going to be a blast. And so to me, phase one is being able to just push yourself to better yourself in any way and shape or form you possibly can, and not letting yourself be defeated. So it's, you know, I think you have an event coming on here soon. So I was like, oh, that looks fun. And it's being able to just be honest with yourself. And that was something that I wanted to be part of. I was like, okay, I've put myself in horrible situations. Now it's time to get myself out of this and move on, do a next chapter in my life, be a better person, push myself to the next boundaries, give back to the community, and just honestly spread the word. Like, I feel like we just live in such dark times right now that we need a light.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what it means to me.
No wrong answer.
No, it really isn't.
Thank you. And I like to throw that one just randomly, you know, in any conversation on the podcast, just because there genuinely is no wrong answer to that. And phase one spoke to me. I didn't even know what it was. It just was something I think God put on my heart, and I ran with it. And then here we are. I think it's beautiful that you were talking about like phase one being a light. Well, that's what I was taking from what you were saying. And we just posted the 7th endurance event for phase one missions for 2026. And it's called the Longest Light. And it's a 101 miler.
Ooh.
And it's 64 laps around a 1.58 mile track. And the summer solstice is June 21st, and the event starts on June 20th. So the Longest Light it means a few different things. Number one, it is the longest amount of daylight in the year, but it's also really just an internal reminder to chase the light when it seems dim. And the darkest times that I've gone through, there's always been light somehow, and it may have been really dim, and it may have seemed really distant, but if we just continue moving forward, it's going to come. And I just love everything you were saying. You were talking about racing and what that means to you. And it seems like a way really just to relentlessly pursue yourself and your own holistic strength. And, it does sound like it requires an immense amount of physical endurance and strength. But I would also imagine that, and based off of everything you've talked about so far, you're also trying to grow mentally, emotionally, and to hear your curiosity about faith and in God, just like it, that's the greatest thing that I can, that I've heard. And it just gives me so much hope, and it makes me so excited to be a part of this journey with you. And I just want you to know, Ash and I we'll save seats for you at church. The church we go to is not a place of condemnation. It's a place of welcoming and genuine, sweet people who put hands on Ash and I and prayed when I was afraid that I had demons living in me. And I was just reassured, like, I got the Spirit of God in me. I don't have demons in me.
No.
It's not possible. And just rebuked that thought that I had. So yeah, I just want to share that with you. And yeah, I look forward to just continuing our journey, our relationship together in life, and seeing the hope to come. I have not a clue what tomorrow's.
None of us do.
No one does. And that's it brings me a lot of peace knowing I don't have to think about it. The hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life and will ever do in my entire life, it's not the longest ultra. It's trusting God with my whole heart, soul, and mind, and not leaning on my own understandings.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything.
I don't think any of us do, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not promised.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a crystal ball and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. This is what's going to happen in the world. You don't know.
Yeah.
You have to trust in God that everything is going to be okay. You truly do. And a lot of people, I feel like, just sometimes don't understand that, or they just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know on that.
Yeah. I was thinking about it earlier today. I was like, the creator of the universe, our God who created everything and created us, already wiped out humanity one time.
Yep.
And as we reflect and we look at the reality that's surrounding us, my curiosity is, why hasn't God done the same again? Why hasn't God just wiped out all of humanity and enjoyed everything for himself? And then I think, number one, I'm not privileged enough to ask the question, and I won't ever be wise enough to know the answer. And it's also a question that doesn't need to ever be answered.
No.
I think what's beautiful is the hope that God showed us in the beginning of creation, the beginning of the Bible. It's talking about everything being dark and void. And there's nothing. And then God said, let there be light. And he saw the light and said that it was good.
Yep.
And my curiosity, if it goes anywhere, is knowing maybe the creator of the universe has enough patience to see his children love each other the way that he created us to. And that gives me hope. That gives me ultimate hope. And I hold on to that like it's a lifeline, because I know my days are numbered and God will give me my last breath, probably when I'm not ready for it. But with every day that we have, if we can count our gratitudes and our blessings and be thankful for the time that we have, and recognize the suffering we've gone through and the endurance that God gives us to continue to move forward, and the awareness to know our identity and our character and who he says we are, then we can hold on to the hope that he gives us, and we just keep on going. And we create that community in racing, in running, and then we just see what happens. And that ripple effect, it just expands, and it touches the entire universe. And that just gives me all the hope. So that's my encouragement to whoever's listening, that's tuning in for the first time, or you've listened to this podcast from the beginning. There's always a place for encouragement. And what I want you to hear from me is when we think about limitations, we are only limited based off of what we say we can't do. If we say that we can't do something, we're already right, and we've already lost. If something is calling to you that scares you, and it could add value to your life, then you're in the right place.
You're going the right direction.
You're going in the right direction. So if you feel called to move in a direction that is uncertain, dark, potentially dark, you don't know what's at the other end, that's okay. I think that fear is an appropriate prerequisite to progress. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be terrified. But if you can recognize the fear and match that with courage, see where it takes you. So that's my encouragement. I want to ask you if you have a word of encouragement to whoever is listening who is in that dark space or that season of uncertainty and doesn't know where to go.
Never really been good on like words of encouragement, but honestly, just never give up. I mean, just you got to keep moving forward. Even like you said, if you can see the light, but there's still a little bit of darkness in between, eventually the tunnel runs out. If you just keep going, that tunnel will stop. There will be a light at the end of that tunnel. I absolutely promise you. And at times it might not feel like it. And you are going to be tried and tried and tried and tried until you feel like you just given up. But I promise you, if you don't and you just keep going, you're going to feel so much better about yourself at the end of that. And I've done it my whole entire life. There are times where I just feel like it never would end. But I just kept on trucking one day at a time. And eventually there's light at the end of that tunnel. That's just how I've always done it.
Yeah.
And it's worked pretty dang good, I'd say, so far. I mean,
yeah.
So no, you just got to keep going. You really do. And there's, I have no problem leaning on friends and family if I feel like I'm going out of control. I know I can call either one of you at any given time. My buddy, the same way. Be like, hey, dude, I'm going through a rough patch. This is what's been going on. You talk it out. Eventually, you'll find the light every time. And it's worked good so far. Yeah. That's what I've been trying to instill in my younger brother, but he's stubborn.
Yeah.
So
when we're on that journey and we get to a point where we no longer want to continue and we're asking ourselves, like, why did I do this? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I firmly believe that the strongest version of ourselves is at the other end of the most discomfort that we're willing to endure.
Yep.
But the willingness is also a prerequisite.
100%.
And we'll never know if we don't continue moving forward.
You don't.
Ash, do you have anything you'd like to say? No pressure.
I mean, I'll obviously double everything everyone else has said. And I mean, I've used this over and over again, but our son's name truly is symbolic of the journey. Just going up the hill, and everyone knows climbing a mountain is really hard, and there's hard things along the way of the journey of life, and there's thorn bushes, there's rocks, we trip, we fall, we get back up, and then once you reach that summit, you just get to look out on all the beauty that God has for us. And you look back on all that and you just smile and laugh because, you know, you're looking at the beauty and that's what got you there. Just like you said, just kept pushing, kept going. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you, Sugar. I appreciate you both. Thank you for spending some life with me today. Thank you for everybody who's listening and tuning in. I hope that this added value to your life. And until next time, peace, love, keep it real.